What's up, BoobTube? Today we're going to start working on wiring in the turd. I haven't actually made hardly any progress lately, been kind of busy, so I figured the wife is at work, so I will start to disassemble parts on the interior. But first things first, unhook the battery. So let's go ahead and get that done. So obviously ground's unhooked, so nothing can happen there. Cool beans. Alright, back into the car we go. Woo-hoo. I'm going to lose all of my saved pre-programmed radio stations, but that's okay because this, oh man, it smells like the 80s in here, because the all the dash and everything's gonna come out, so the radio's gonna come out anyways. But anyways, got the little plug for the, well, that should come off, unless I'm imagining things. That usually does. There it goes. Okay, so got that AC button, 2 caps for the heat, and the vent selector. Pull this up. There's a couple of screws down there which you gotta get to. So one here, and one over here. Well, don't lose it down in the crevices of the dark depths of wherever that goes. Alrighty. Now there's 2 up here that you can't see that are right there. I'll go ahead and get them with the Phillips instead of the drill, because a lot of times you can't get them out with the drill. Stuff's in the way. Got that one. And oh shit. Exactly what I didn't want happening. Another screw down. And I don't have any light in here, so I can't see where it went. Son of a bitch. Oh well, I've got extras of those. I got a bucket full of them. Just like to not have. Oh, there it is. I see it. Aha! Random screw recovered. Cigarette catcher thingy mabob. It's got screws in it. Undo that. Believe that's one. Oh, go ahead and run the drill on that. Oh, now that one is gone forever. Maybe. No, it's not. I found it. Found it. Alright. Getting really good at this. Almost losing parts and stuff. But is it really surprising? No, it's not really surprising for me at all. Alright, that should be it. Everything should come out now. Gotta get it over the gauges. There's a trick to this. You gotta get, there's a plastic piece up here that's underneath that folds up underneath the rubber, and if you don't get that out, it will never come out, and you end up breaking your dash trying to get this out. So best way is just to go ahead and pop that out first and then pull the rest of it out. Alright, so I got to unhook quite a few things in the back of the radio. So let's go ahead and unhook that. And then this thing that hooks up to the back of this for light. I believe it's already unhooked. No, it's not. Okay. Wait, which portion is it? Oh, it's this portion. Okay. Oh, there we go. Alright, and I believe that is everything. Oh, no. The light for the back of the thing. There we go. That is everything. So now, pull this out of the way. And see, I've got my plug for all of my gauges where it routes from. It's actually coming from the power that goes to the clock, since the clock doesn't work. And that is what I use. So my water temp gauge is going to come out since I'm no longer using it, which means I got to reach back here and unthread and ignore the radio wiring. That was pre-me. It's just, it is what it is. So I've got to figure out how I'm going to get my wires up. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to have my wires run in between the vents for the defrost and the dash. There's a space there, and I'm going to have them run down and hopefully come down and be able to see them somewhere coming down in through here. But will I be able to do that is the question. You can see where my current wires run across the vent back there in the back. But we shall see. Onwards and upwards. Really need to vacuum out my car. There's still metal shavings from when I installed the gauges in here. Alright, one of these plugs is hot. That is not it. That is my sensor wire. I may reuse that wire for the water temp gauge, but probably not. And there you have it. So, water meter, water gauge with, whatever else. So that's that. Alrighty. So, see if I can't get some wire. I'm going to try and adjust some of this stuff that it just looks bad. Try and move it down and out of the way. Not from behind, where you can see everything. I will probably clean some of this up. I was so in a hurry to get the car running initially that yeah. Alright, so did some cleaning up on the wiring. I still have 2 hot wires for my new gauges that I'm going to run. I'll probably just end up cutting one off completely and just using one for the gauges, and then splice them all into one of them and running them up through. But I cleaned up my O2 gauge here so that maybe this won't look so bad once I stick it on, because I can stick it on there, and then once I stick it on there, all of this wiring can get pulled through and you won't see it, which is going to be nice. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll show you the final product. So as you can see, it looks a lot better. There's not a lot of stuff crowding around it. Obviously there's still wires running all over the place because I haven't cleaned up the rest of the wiring. Like this wire is the sensor for water temp that I need to get rid of. And yeah, but that looks a lot better. You can't see the cords running all over the place anymore. They're tucked in behind it. So once I put the dash back together, it should look a lot better. Alright, so I got my route figured out for all my gauge wires, which is going to be up through the vent. I had to remove this, and there's a couple of gaps back there which are going to work out great in between the vents. Now it's just to run multiple wires down through there to get it all set up for the gauges. Alright, I'm going to do that next. Alright, so another day, another dollar. I continued working the other night on the wiring. This is all the wiring for the gauges. You got your 3 oil temp, water temp, oil pressure. Got 3 different gauges set out, all wired up separately. I might get some heat shrink to heat shrink these together. That way they look decent enough, but other than that, there's really no reason to, because it's all going to be behind the dash and it all looks good anyways. So next step is actually putting this in the car, which I still got a little bit of wiring to clean up inside the car and a couple wires to run. So let's go over to the car. So I've got my new splice on the end of my wire for the water temp. I still haven't changed my water temp sending unit out yet, just because the car's full of antifreeze and I got to drain it down below this point, or it probably won't ever seal correctly because I'll be putting it into a wet surface. Got the wiring done for the oil temp sending unit. I got it wired in and run into the car, and then I've got a wire that's running over here to the universal ground for all of the wiring harness. So if that's not good enough ground for it, then I don't know what is. I'm probably going to tape all this up together, all these wires up together, so that you don't see them. Sadly, I only had 14 gauge wire laying around, so it's really big, oversized wire for what these gauges are going to be pulling, but it is what it is. And then I'd like to run some electrical tape or heat shrink around this along with the actual harness, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. There's a lot there that's kind of in the way. I'm planning to, much like the oil temp sending unit, it's got a ground. The water temp will, so I'm planning on either grounding it over here onto the motor ground or just grounding it to the alternator and being done with it, since that'll be nice and short and shouldn't take up too much space. Anyways, enough of that. Let's actually climb in the car. I think I covered this the other night, but there's the 2 wires running into the car that's going to go up behind the dash. Haven't actually ran those yet. And then all of this is still all apart, and I got to put it back together, and hopefully the radio still works. Well, it should work. Hopefully it doesn't have a couple of the connectors weren't all that strong. Connections weren't all that strong, so that'll be something to test before I put it back in. But other than that, I'm actually going to go wash cars outside in the 40-degree weather because both the cars are nasty and it's supposed to snow later, but you know, whatever. They're nasty, so they need to be washed. So I'm going to do that. Maybe if I get done with that in a decent amount of time, I might actually come back in here and work on this some more before the wifey has to go to work. Or I might actually do that tonight while she's at work. I might work on this and get it done. Other than that, yeah, it's going pretty good. Oh, I did finally get the, I don't know if I covered this either. I did get the wire ran up through here, but I had to take this protector off for the defrost, and I didn't know that piece was actually a piece of metal. I thought it was plastic, but no, it is a piece of metal with this texture put on it. So it's actually, you can't get it out because it doesn't bend enough unless you take the A-pillar plastics off. And as you can see, that one over there is if there's not a reflection, if there's not a reflection on it, there's a reflection. It is there. It is destroyed. So just 30-something years of sun baking has led that one to break really bad. But other than that, I'll be back in here working on this hopefully later today, and yeah, then I get to do bushings and order wheels. Oh wait, maybe you're not supposed to know that. But yeah, other than that, come back later.